what I do, what I do, da da do, da da do.
All right. Hello. Hi, guys. How you doing?
Hey,
Really
good.
So, Mark and Liv, I wanted to get you on this recorded call to share with our community because basically I think you guys are some of my favourite peeps.
Oh, nice, man. Nice.
Likewise.
Love it.
Oh, stop it.
Stop.
You're experts in two different areas that I think would be super valuable to our community of aspiring copywriters. One of them being LinkedIn superstars. So real experts in branding on LinkedIn, personal branding and getting engagement and leads and sales through LinkedIn. And the second one is obviously recruitment, and specifically recruitment for agencies. So while our academy has mainly kind of been tuned for people who want to become freelance copywriters, there'll be some that at some point may want to pursue the role of an in-house agency copywriter. So I think that's the reason why I've got you here today. And I think that, you can share a lot of, nuggets of wisdom. And I'd like to start with basically asking about your story when it comes to LinkedIn. So how did it all start? How did you become such LinkedIn superstars?
Oh,
Well, that starts with you.
I thought you were going to go for it then. I think we've been messing around with LinkedIn. I mean, I've been on LinkedIn for donkey's years and kind of just used it as a...
How long is donkey's years in LinkedIn
I was about
terms?
to ask. Yeah. What is donkey's years?
I don't know. Well, pretty much since it was around, actually. I don't know whether is that 2003, 2000. I don't know, something like that, probably. But you sort of open your account and then you never go back because it was bloody boring, really. But you recognise that it's a tool for either trying to find a job. So it's sort of the go-to place, isn't it? When you've lost your job or you're trying to find a new job, it's kind of the go-to place. So I kind of used it for years doing that, and then set up RedSprout about 4 years ago, and started messing around with bits of video. And I kind of looked at it and thought it could be a channel for us to generate business, and so started to mess around a little bit. I mean, the first videos were awful. They were absolutely dreadful. But then what was it, about 3 years ago, they launched their own native video. They're always slow to the party, LinkedIn. Facebook went live probably 10 years ago and LinkedIn have only just done it now, but it was the same with video. Before then you had to put it on YouTube and link it across, and it was all a bit faffy. But they then suddenly opened up their sort of own native video, and I just looked at it and thought, oh my God, this is actually an opportunity because no one else is doing video. We could really, do something quite exciting here. And so Liv and I started to do some videos, and we weren't really into it that much. It was kind of, oh, we need to do another video. Let's do one. And then about 18 months ago, 2 years ago, we produced this video which was taking the piss out of job descriptions. And it was basically saying, why the hell is everyone a rock star, a guru and a ninja and all this kind of stuff. It literally launched my LinkedIn following from about 7,000 at the time up to 22,000 in a week or something like that. It was ridiculous. And actually then we started to pick up some business on the back of that as well. And we just thought, oh, this is, we've got to go all in, really. And then so last year, I think we produced a video pretty much every day and had 10 million views of our content, and all for no marketing budget.
But so, also, I mean, we did start with video from the beginning. It wasn't, our inbound. We did have an inbound strategy from the beginning, didn't we? It wasn't just because you accelerated after one video. It was that one video then got you 22,000 followers, but then the video you did, 2 months after, got you another 20,000 followers. Yeah. And it did all accelerate quite quickly once we'd spent about 2 years trying everything. Yeah. I mean, we tried all this stupid stuff. It didn't ever get any engagement. But although weirdly it didn't get engagement, it still got the inquiries. And so we were learning, just because...
Lift your mic up, Liv. Lift your mic up.
Oh, just because someone isn't, liking the video, engaging with the video, they're still watching our videos. My laptop's falling off my sofa. They're still consuming the content, and we learned the kind of patterns of behavior that come with LinkedIn. And then from that, we then built up quite a lot of momentum. And then, it got to the point where we are now.
Yeah.
Would you say you then sort of cracked it? You cracked the code? Did you create a recipe that then repeat?
Yes, but it is changing all the time. So I think we are quite, we do try and stay quite ahead of it. But it does change on a, would you say, monthly basis, that with things like the algorithm and just patterns of behavior. And
the algorithms changed massively just recently, so reach is massively down, but it's actually LinkedIn say that your content is being targeted at the people that would actually engage with it and enjoy it more. So those days of probably 1 million, I mean, 2 of our videos have gone to over 1 million views. We probably won't see that again because the reach is massively down, but actually engagement is slightly better from a perhaps more targeted audience. But I tell you that, I mean, you have got to, Liv's absolutely right, you've got to stay ahead of this stuff, because in lockdown we've played with 2 other things as well. They gave me LinkedIn Live, this live streaming thing, so we had a little bit of a go at that, and have largely dropped it because it's still clunky and because it actually doesn't attract a huge amount of engagement. But what we really noticed in lockdown was that simple text stories, text posts, massive traction. I mean, Liv put one out about her experience of being furloughed, and the BBC picked it up and she ended up on the national news. So, it's
random.
crazy.
So this is where being a copywriter could definitely... Right?
Damn right.
And Liv, you've got a background in copywriting and content writing.
Yeah. So I actually met Mark because I was working in-house in a PR role in London and wanted to move back to Kent, where I'm from, and found Mark, and he was my recruiter. And then I was working in an agency, and the same thing kind of happened. I was looking at I actually interviewed for a senior copywriter role at an agency that we now is pretty much our partner. So it's really weird.
Nice.
And I've lost my train of thought. So anyway, I was interviewing all these different places, and then Mark was advertising for a recruiter, and I said to him, I'd love to work with you. I think it'd be really fun. I love your brand, but I presume you've got to have recruitment experience. And he said, no, absolutely not. And then it started from there, really.
I think you're saying, Mark, that it's probably a lot of recruitment agencies don't have copywriters, and that's something that they're lacking, right? Because
massively.
Copy, words, messaging comes into everything. And I mean, I see recruiting as kind of a parallel to marketing, really.
Totally.
Same thing. You're trying to attract, engage, and convert people, but it's talent rather than prospects and customers. It's the same sort of thing.
It's totally the same thing,
And we've always taken quite a different approach to how we advertise jobs as well. So on LinkedIn, we don't tend to talk about jobs or recruitment really that much, but obviously we still have to write job descriptions and kind of generate applications from candidates. And so, we kind of have taken our own unique approach to how we write job descriptions. Actually,
just good copywriting, though, Liv, at the end of the day, isn't it?
Yeah, but even before I worked with you, you still made job descriptions actually fun and light-hearted, and made it into more of an advert than just a sort of job spec, which is I think where so many people go wrong.
So it all comes down to copywriting in the end.
Always, mate. Always.
Always down to copywriting.
Even with videos, that's true, though, Conrad. Even with videos, that's true because you've still got to script it all, and that comes down to good copywriting.
And the text post that goes with it.
Exactly.
Yeah, and the headline and everything. Yeah, it's the concept that's what copywriters do that as well.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I'm glad you agree. So I want to go back to, LinkedIn strategies. And I want to start with, a lot of our community will be starting out on the journey into freelancehood and perhaps have a LinkedIn presence or profile already, maybe not at all, or maybe like most of us just had it because, they set it up at some point and have a bit of information about their previous job. Where do they start? Because it might seem a bit daunting, right? Talking about producing a video a day is, especially maybe if you're camera shy, might not be the kind of thing that everyone can do. So where do you start?
I would definitely incorporate some element of video in there, because the point of LinkedIn is to allow your audience to get to know you. And actually, therefore, video becomes a really good medium to use because you see them, you hear them, and you see the facial expressions. So you get to know people through that medium. I don't think it's necessary to be doing as much video perhaps as we do. I'm just become a little bit obsessed with video. But even this last week, we've not put out anything like the normal quantity of video content we've put out either. I think depending on whether, if you're a freelancer and you're trying to attract clients, then we always apply, and everybody does this on LinkedIn. It's probably the biggest mistake that people make. They apply a certain number of subconscious preconditions before they then start making content. And it goes a little bit like this. My name is Mark. I run a business called RedSprout. We're a marketing recruitment business, now make content. And the problem is by applying those preconditions, you narrow massively the topics that you can make content out of, because it always comes from those preconditions. And so come back 2 stages and stop at the bit that it says, hi, I'm Mark, and now start making content, because you've got a whole lot, many more options on what you can do. And just keep in mind that the purpose is not to sell to people on LinkedIn, but to allow them to get to know you. So that exercise alone, just saying, this is me, this is what's going on at the moment, and it could be business related. There's nothing wrong with that, but don't use it as a salesy piece of content. I mean, I've done videos, for example, and content around the fact that clients haven't paid on time because cash flow is tight, and so we don't over sanitize stuff either. We'll tell the truth as well and keep it authentic. But coming from there, everything's coming from inside you and what you are about as a person, and therefore it's your experience. People can't really dispute that because it's your experience, but it also shines a light on you, and it allows people to get to know you. And the magic of LinkedIn is that when people like your content, they go on their own little journey. They join up their own dots because they think, oh, Mark's producing good content. Who is he? Oh, he's a recruiter. Oh, he recruits in marketing. And so a lot of the messaging that we get back on the comments that we get on our content is, love your content. It's so relatable and it's really engaging. I notice you're a recruiter. Can you help us recruit? So the sales piece comes without you having to actually force it. And so that would be my absolute top piece of advice for anybody who is going to produce content on LinkedIn. Give, don't sell, and allow people to get to know you.
And so I want to break down that into even more even more tangible piece of advice. Let's say I'm a freelance copywriter. I've written my profile. It's probably pretty good because I'm a writer.
Yeah.
Good written profile there, kind of selling what I do. And I've got a phone. It has a camera on it, and I'm going to turn it on. What do I talk about? I feel like that might be a barrier for people. Like, what are those topics? Is there a strategy for coming up with topics? Should they come
Go on, Liv.
strategy first, or just start talking?
Well, I think
any ways to break through that barrier, especially for people who might be camera shy, or me, a bit of a perfectionist, so I worry too much about it not, looking perfect and not being the ultimate piece of content.
So I think there's like a few parts to that. The first bit, in terms of generating ideas, I presume most copywriters would be already familiar with how to generate copy ideas, right? So it wouldn't be that different to creating videos. So I mean, we use content pillars, and I'm sure they'd have come across them quite a lot before as well. And so Mark's, for example, one of his is ADHD. Within ADHD, you could have a topic like living with someone with ADHD, being a boss with ADHD, managing someone with ADHD. There's a million little strings that can come from that content theme or content pillar. And then in terms of breaking through the barrier of being camera shy, it just takes practice.
It does.
I don't know what else you can do. It just takes practice. Even if you don't publish the videos, just make the videos, watch yourself, just keep doing that before you...
I give a top tip for anyone who's, because the thing is that you hit the nail on the head straight away. The content ideas are the bit that everybody ends up stumbling over.
That's the hardest bit.
It is the hardest bit. This bit actually is just practice. It really genuinely is just practice. And the advice I give people who are camera shy is actually do exactly what Liv says. For 2 weeks, get your camera out, talk to your camera. Every single day.
Get used to seeing your face, because I think a lot of people feel self-conscious and stuff, don't they?
Exactly. And maybe just do a 2 or 3 minute bit to the camera and have that content idea in your mind. So you're going to talk to the camera, and then do that for 2 weeks with no intention ever of publishing it. And then go back and look at day 1 versus day 14. And you'll find that your confidence has just risen absolutely massively.
Also, another tip just on that is, say you've got together your content idea. You might have scripted it loosely a little bit, and then you film it. Even if you're sort of happy with it, I'd still film it again, because I think a lot of the time, the second or third time that you do it, you're so used to what you're saying and you're so comfortable making your point that even if you're the first one's all right, the second and third one you're going to be so much happier with, I find anyway.
That's absolutely true. Yeah, the third take for me is always the best. And the other trick, Conrad, the only other trick I'd add to that is so that comes with practice. Just do more of that, and you get better. And it's the same as if you're doing public speaking. You know, the more you do, the better you get at it, and the more comfortable you feel at it. So that is just a hurdle that you've got to get over. The difficulty, and we do not do this because this is really difficult, is just to deliver a piece of a script or a line or whatever it is to camera in one take and getting it right is so hard. And so
we never do that.
we never do that because we know how to edit. So you've got to bring that content in, and as Liv says, the third time you say it may be the best. So get rid of number 1 and 2 and edit in number 3, and that's the line that you'll use. And then so editing, even basic video editing, will help you polish a turd.
I've also seen people, some agency founders, that it looks like they don't edit, and I think they just literally get the camera up and post, and there's something there, and it's not perfect. It's authentic, and they've clearly got used to it and got better at it, and they're just talking. And back to your point of content pillars, so I want to sort of dive a bit into that. Within the academy, we talk about niching and the benefit of niching, giving you an advantage over generalists and a kind of a jack of all trades. So I imagine that, let's say you're a tech writer, one of your buckets, or we say buckets, but pillars basically, would be maybe, the tech world. And then one might be copyright, and then one might be something more of on a human level, like community. So yeah, I just wanted to add that. I suppose my next question is, what if people are just too afraid to? Are you saying you need video content? Do you think you can do a good job on LinkedIn with good solid?
I've put out 3 videos ever. Have I put out 3 videos?
Probably.
I think maximum 3 videos.
You've been involved in ones though, right? You've been in.
I've been involved in all of Mark's, but my personal profile though, I've got sort of nearly 10,000 followers, which is obviously nothing on Mark's 55, but I think that's still a nice number to have. And definitely. I still have a lot of people message me who, on the same way that they've messaged Mark, they've got inquiries and they want to learn more about RedSprout and about what we can do. So it still works, and copywriters are obviously going to be at an advantage because they know how to write an engaging piece of content. The trick is to then sort of use those same principles and that their way with words and translating that onto video, which will just make it skyrocket. If I did way more videos, I'd probably be in a closer position to Mark. I do think video is important because it does allow people to get to know you. But there is a very good copywriter who's prolific on LinkedIn, who's got, I think, 30 or 40,000 followers, called Leah Turner, is it? I think it is. A lot of them do, yeah. Very good writer. Very good, and most her go-to is good copywriting, good story content. She will do some. Is she a copywriter? Yeah, she's a copywriter. But she will do some very poor video, but what that actually adds massive weight to the other content that she produces, because for that very small glimpse, you get to see her. And so actually what it does, those really poor videos, which are literally just pick up a phone and have a quick, chat about something, actually brings all of the rest of her content to life a little bit, because you can then see her and hear her talking when you're reading her content. So I do think it's a really important part of it. And a lot of my followers have come because they've seen me on your videos. Yeah. So, I suppose it's a bit different for me. Your personality's still there, like in LinkedIn. Yeah. I'm hearing what you're saying. That's why we're doing this video content, right? Because we know exactly we need to be getting video content out there. And actually, one of the tips we gave, on a slight tangent here, but a lot of copywriters starting out will have to use platforms like People Per Hour, Fiverr.com, and there's a lot of competition. So this little kind of insider trick is to film a video. You're pitching. There's 30 people from
many different countries who are probably going to go at a cheaper price point from you, and some other good copywriters. So one way to elevate your initial outreach kind of pitch is to film your response. So again, I think
definitely
camera makes a lot of sense, probably even more so in this world now that we can't be face to face. Like we still have to show that personality somehow. And
I think the power, just picking up on that as well, the power of LinkedIn is actually stopping that client from putting the brief onto people per hour or Fiverr or freelancer in the first place. Because if you've built up an online reputation on LinkedIn and you're posting consistently and you're building your audience, then before, as soon as that they need, the requirement arrives and they need somebody, you are at the front of their head. You're the go-to. So it never even gets as far as going to those things, because they just go, oh yeah, no, I know a brilliant copywriter. She's putting out, or he's putting out brilliant content all the time. I'm just going to message them. And so you bypassed all of that anyway. So online,
and even if it's not them that's messaging the copywriter, it's like what you said the other day. People have conversations at the water cooler, and like someone will say they've got a copywriting need or something. So they might not need anything, but they'll think, oh, I know Conrad. I've been following Conrad for ages. Check him out.
Yeah, they become a referrer, right?
Yeah,
exactly.
Awesome. So before we move on to the recruitment side of things, are there any kind of common blunders to avoid in LinkedIn?
Yes.
Oh, loads.
So many.
Give us your top 100, guys.
Okay, top 100. Here we go. If you're going to produce video content, put a thumbnail at the start of it, because the way that the way that LinkedIn works is not like YouTube. So people are scrolling through a news feed, and you have to stop them in their tracks and get them interested in in your video content. Put a thumbnail there that is clickbait. Go clickbait. Think clickbait. Tease them with the thumbnail message so that they want to go and watch more. Number one. Number two, keep your video content, especially when you're starting out, under 2 minutes long, because people don't give you any time on LinkedIn. Remember, they are just coming across your content. They haven't gone to search for it. So make it easy for them to consume it. Number three, edit out every or pause in any of your video content, because any or pause is just an excuse for people to go away and leave and not finish the rest of your video. Number four, caption every single video you do, because 80%, they say, whoever they are, listen and watch LinkedIn without the sound on. So captioning is absolutely essential. Number 5.
I've got number 5.
Let's go to 5. Come on.
Don't look at yourself. Look at the camera. So when you're filming your video, don't watch yourself. Just make sure you're looking through the camera lens.
And top tip is actually put a little bit of a sticky yellow note where the lens is on your phone, so your eyes will instantly be attracted to the little sticky yellow note rather than looking at yourself. There you go. We did 5.
We did 5, yeah. We'll catch up another time for the other
95.
Yeah. Anything, again, just for like their profile themselves, with those amazing tips for videos, but is there anything, because that initial stage is to actually create a LinkedIn profile.
Yeah.
Kind of top tips there.
Yeah, there's a banner area at the top. So if people have gone as far as looking at a piece of content, maybe it's a bit of really good writing, then they get to connect with you. They're going to have to go into your profile page to hit the connect button. There's a banner at the top of LinkedIn that people just don't use well enough. It's a really good sales opportunity. And so as is RedSprout's, and if you want this, and so it's very salesy at the top there, and use it as being sales. Don't be afraid of using that section to sell the hell out of yourself, or tell people very quickly what you do, the solution that you can provide. That's an absolute top tip.
Also for copywriters, you can feature certain posts on your profile. So if they want to upload bits of work or just things that they're proud of, they'll get featured right at the top of their profile, so that someone on their profile sees that before anything else, which is really useful.
The rest of it, to be honest, doesn't matter, because it's below the line, it's below the fold. It's that top bit, banner, featured content. There's this trend in LinkedIn now, or there was, we've kind of moved away from it a little bit, that your bio line under your name, it says, I help so I help people find amazing marketing talent, or whatever it is. Test that out and see if that works. We did it for quite some time. We've kind of moved away from it a little bit now, but a lot of people do that. And it's a kind of a call to action. Yeah.
Amazing. Good. Really, really good tangible tips, guys. Thank you. Let's talk about the recruitment side of things. So obviously you've worked with a lot of agencies recruiting copywriters and other creatives and other people in the creative industry. What would you say agencies are looking for in creative candidates from your experience?
Top tip number one is it's so easy these days to apply for a job. So invariably there is going to be a route. You're either going to go through an internal recruitment team, or you're going to go through an external recruiter to get to that agency. So you're not really going to be speaking to the hiring manager straight away. It'd be rare that would happen. Only perhaps in the smaller agencies where you're straight through, but you'll go through some sort of recruitment process. Even if that's a sort of applicant tracking system, it may be automated recruitment process or actually a human being. The human being, whether they're internal recruitment, external recruitment, will give this is going to shock the hell out of people. They will look at your CV for maximum 5 seconds before they've made the decision. And so in 5 seconds, you've got to demonstrate you're worth another 5 seconds and another 5 seconds and another 5 seconds. So
one way, sorry to butt in, but just on that topic, one way that candidates have done that in the past that I've seen is we had a candidate who was applying for, I can't remember what job role was, but he changed his CV colours to match the brand's colours for the role that he was applying for, and you noticed it straight away, and just that little detail, just that little extra effort made him stand out immediately, and he did really well through the process. So sometimes little creative details can actually make a really big difference. And
that sort of points to the larger point here, which is modify your CV for the job that you're applying for. So because you've got 5 seconds to impress, and make sure. And this sounds a little bit off, but the language that they're using in the job description, use the same language, as long as you can validate you've got the skills and experience. I'm not saying copy and paste and just say I can do what you want me to do, but use that language, use the words, because the recruiter's brain is going, I'm looking for somebody who is a copywriter for the tech industry. That's my brief. So right at the top of that, almost your heading on your CV should be copywriter for the tech industry.
Even that's a good LinkedIn header, actually. That's a good LinkedIn title. Yeah.
But then, so the recruiter or the internal recruitment team is going, oh, hold on, I've got someone. You've automatically bought yourself another 5 seconds, and then carry on with your CV. So, and the way I say this to students is, you may well have got a degree in biosciences, but if you're applying for a job as a content creator, I don't care. So it's irrelevant. If you want to keep it on your CV, by all means do so, but put it on page 2, right at the bottom in the right-hand corner, because it's not relevant for that role. You may be very proud of it, but it's not going to help you get the job. So absolutely modify your CV for the job that you're applying for. There is more work involved in doing that, but you'll find that your conversion ratio from sending an application to actually getting further down the process will be so much higher.
Definitely.
So that's the top tip.
One final thing just to add to that. This is going to sound absolutely ridiculous, right? But when I've recruited for copywriters before, you would not believe the amount of copywriters who have typos on their CVs.
Right.
And I just think, how many times did I used to complain in the office? I say, oh, I can't believe this. And so I think, as a copywriter, don't be too proud to show someone your CV to check for typos, because immediately, if you're going to see a typo on a copywriter CV, that's, first impressions out the window, isn't it?
Yeah. Totally. I mean, ironically, as you guys know, we've had quite a lot of proofreaders applying for jobs with typos in their CV.
Same thing. Yeah.
And that literally their job is to be ironing out problems like that. So if they don't have it, then send it out. I mean, even if you no one can really thoroughly proofread their own work. It's very, very difficult to. There are tricks for it, but send it out to someone else. It's such an important part. You don't want to fall at the first hurdle.
No,
Yeah.
I have got another top tip actually, and the reason for this top tip is that 99.9% of people won't do it. So immediately you're going to stand out by doing this, and that is create a 30-second or 1-minute video that introduces yourself. And so it could be, "Hi, I'm Mark. This is what." Don't take them through your CV, but actually, again, sort of allow them to get to know you a little bit, because no one does it, and so immediately people do that, and honestly, nobody does it. We
No one does it.
we are well known for doing video, and I can still count on one hand the amount of people that have applied for a job with us that will do that. So it takes bravery, but my God, we notice. I mean, the whole office, when we get a video, someone who's gone to those lengths, we're all around that PC.
We love it, yeah.
Watching it and thinking, "Oh my God, that's amazing."
Because you know what? It actually feels flattering.
It
actually feels flattering that someone's gone to the effort of creating a video because they want to work with you so much. And it's a really nice feeling.
And the other point is, sorry to carry on with this, but the other point is we're about to go into an incredibly tough recruitment market. Whereas before, you might have been one of 2 or 3 people that was applying for a job, or 2 or 3 people that were in the shortlist for that job. You're probably going to a world where you're one of 20, 30, 40, 50 that could be actually part of that. So you're going to have to work to stand out and get to the top of the pile.
I completely agree. And so, being someone on the receiving end of applications, all of the things you mentioned would put them above other candidates.
Yeah.
We talked about using video for just trying to get a single project, right, within people per hour. So it seems a no-brainer to do it if you're applying to get a long-term job with an agency. Yeah. And as you guys know, people buy from people they like, and people hire people they like. So exactly. TV is almost this barrier of, okay, on paper they look good, but what are they actually like in person? And that's one of the things why we value you guys as a recruitment agency, because you send videos through as that first screening. And that's really where we make the decision. Like, it's so much more of the decision is made there than a piece of paper.
Yeah.
At the same
time, it's theirs to screw it up when they actually come and meet you, isn't it?
Oh yeah, of course. Sometimes in person, it's a different story. But and I agree with the CVs. If you're a copywriter, that's your opportunity. And again, as you said, analyze the agency you're going for. If you're trying to apply for a job with us, for example, you can see we've got quite a quirky tone of voice. So be quirky. Don't come at us super seriously with formal talk, to whom it may concern, etc.
Exactly.
Do something different. Do something special in your CV. And I agree even with the colours. I kind of equate that to what we call pitch theatre. When you've got a really important pitch, you can have subliminal messaging and colours of the brand and things like that. So it's such an important thing for you then, so to put that extra effort in, and it means you'll be maybe apply for a few jobs and get one you want, rather than sending it out to 100 and kind of half-arsing it.
Exactly.
Totally agree with all those points. I think you've answered my next question, which was tips for standing out. Another question which we actually had, because we asked the community, so these questions are coming from real people. How would you suggest that copywriters or creative freelancers go about searching for an agency job in the first place? Where do they start looking, other than obviously coming to you guys?
Yeah.
So I'd say the first thing to do, which Mark, you're going to agree with, is go on LinkedIn. And actually just start connecting with people at agencies that you want to work at. That's all you have to do. Once you start connecting with people, building up your connections, you're then posting content. Those connections are seeing that content. You'll actually generate your own incoming inquiries that way anyway. And I think for me, that would be the most valuable thing to be doing, rather than spending hours looking on job boards and things like that. Actually just build up a kind of your own connection strategy on LinkedIn, and then see what happens and start building those relationships. It's more long term, but it's so worth it.
You never know as well. I mean, I think that's the message there is absolutely bang on. It's don't wait to see a job advert from a company.
Yeah.
It's an agency that you love because they're just, you can feel the vibe, and
tell them that you love them. Why not?
You love them. Yeah. Again, it comes back down to authenticity as well. Just be open with these guys, and just, the message could be, look, I guess you guys aren't hiring at the moment. You are one of my destination employers. I really, but validate that. explain why. I love that piece of work that you did for this particular company. I particularly love the tone of voice, whatever, really go into detail, show your skills and experience by actually, blowing smoke up their backsides of the work they've done, because, everyone loves a bit of flattery. And even if they're not hiring, the reality is you'll have clicked in someone's head, and when they are hiring, you're probably the first person they'll come back to.
And engage with their posts on top of that as well. So there's plenty of opportunities. You can message them about some, amazing work that they've done, or just to say, I really enjoy following your journey. I hope that maybe one day I might be able to be part of that, and then continue to engage with the content that they put out, and just keep your name visible in their mind. And it's so easy to do. It's actually so simple to do.
Yeah, it's kind of like, again, it's like mirroring what companies do when they do content marketing, right?
Yeah.
The whole point of content marketing is that there's, on any given market, there's only about 3% of people or companies in buying mode, and there's 97% of people who could become buyers at a certain point. So you slowly nurture and build relationships with them. The problem is most people are just going for those who are buying. So it's the same if you're someone, a candidate looking for a job, most of your competitors are going for the jobs that you see on job boards, right? Especially in a time like this.
Yeah.
But if you can reach out and be proactive, build and nurture relationships with people like me, for example, then it will get on our radar. We're always looking out for it because we're a growing agency, right? It's a bit tougher, but we will continue to grow beyond lockdown, etc. And if someone gets on our radar and shows promise, then we remember them. We write down their name. I'd say don't be overly keen. Don't be a keno. Don't be like too hard. Try and bring tact into that situation, just like you would in any relationship.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
But I think it's really good advice. Be proactive, get on their radar, nurture the relationship, tell them that at some point it'd be great to be a part of it, and we'll remember that person. It's a lot easier for us, in fact, not to skip what you guys offer, but it's a lot easier for us to have someone in the pipeline than to have to go through the recruitment process.
Yeah, of course.
Of course it is. And there's a cost associated with it, as you well know, Conrad. So actually people skipping that and introducing themselves and building a relationship from the client's side, from the company's side, that what they're thinking is, oh my God, that's great. I'm not going to have to pay a recruitment fee for this person. So it's an absolute no-brainer.
Yeah.
So you're basically telling people to skip your services, right?
Yeah, do it.
Get a recruitment agency.
It's the anti-sell. But there's some psychology in there somewhere. I'm not sure where. I'll look at it later.
There is, I'm sure. We'll see. We'll let the results speak for themselves.
Bye.
I'm closing down. Last question, which again came from someone in our community. What would a typical interview process look like for a copywriter or a creative applying for an agency? I mean, I know ours, but you've worked with many more agencies.
So
if it doesn't involve a pub, you're in the wrong place.
yeah, yours is actually the best one.
It is. Is it?
Yeah. So typically in my experience, CV sent over usually with, so if they're using a recruiter would send the CV with the portfolio, or they do it themselves. Usually the client would have a little look at that, have some questions, and then take them to interview stage, at which point they'd ask them to talk through their portfolio. And that's a really important part of that, actually, someone being able to really properly talk through their reasoning behind everything. And that's feedback that I've had from clients quite a lot, not necessarily copywriter roles, but with just general creative roles. It's that the candidate might have lacked that ability to really explain their thought processes and their concepts. Following that, there does tend to be a task to demonstrate their skills, and then if it's you guys, it's down the pub, or it's a second stage interview, and then that's about it, really. It's quite relaxed though, normally, isn't it? I'd say most clients with the creative roles, they're quite relaxed.
That's a great tip. Like the asking them to talk through their portfolio. It's important, and one of the things we do often as an agency is have to talk through what we're providing the client, especially when it comes to short form copy. Like because people pay quite a lot of money. Companies pay a lot of money for a tagline, for example, and you don't just want to send over an A4 piece of paper with 10 3-word lines on. It doesn't. So you get it onto a different slide, have a rationale behind it, talk them through it, so they understand the process that has gone into it and the thought process. So guys, some really, really tangible tips. I'm loving this. Before we wrap up, I'd like to give you an opportunity to talk about anything that might be coming up. If you've got anything like LinkedIn workshops, or if you want our community to follow you on LinkedIn, any calls to action, here's your opportunity to do so.
Go, Liv.
Okay, thanks. Well, I used to work in copywriting, and I love copywriters. So if you're a copywriter, connect with me. I'd love to see your content, and more than happy to give any just advice and tips as to how to get started. Yeah, copywriters, connect with me. I think that's about it. I don't think we've got anything coming up, have we, that we can promote?
Yeah, no, that's all good. That's like we said, nurture the relationship. Like, that you guys are obviously amazing people to follow on LinkedIn. They can learn a lot by observation and just by seeing what you guys are putting out there. I think the first protocol would be follow, watch your videos, read your content, see what you guys are doing, and pick up a trick or two.
And if you see a typo, let us know.
What's that?
If you see a typo, let us know.
Well, exactly. Yeah.
Honestly, in almost every video I do, Conrad, there is always in the subtitles, I've screwed something up, and every time someone points it out to me. So
I created a video this week, actually, because we've been doing our own videos for a drip campaign, and it was like a word. It was a spoken typo. I said custer instead of customer. Custard, but I think it was said quickly enough that
you can get away with that.
It was with all the charm that they wouldn't notice it at all. But guys, thank you so much. Really appreciate that. A lot of tangible tips, as I said, for people to kind of really, our community to really take on board and go out there and build their LinkedIn profile. And obviously, if they're looking for agency roles, some tips there on how to get through the interview process and stand out amongst that sea of competition, which are out there inevitably. So thanks a lot again, and I'll see you guys on LinkedIn.
You're welcome. See you later.
Bye.
Cheers.